No, we don't. Oh, it does that thing. Okay. We are back.
We're back.
Kim and Jason, Still Untitled Podcast, episode 3. It's been a week. I'm searching for an intro here.
We went camping.
Yeah.
Jason made this. At first it was just a bunch of Hebrew, what are they Jewish stars? Hebrew stars? They have a name.
Stars David.
Star of David, okay. And then...
We're not Jewish.
Who knows? Yeah.
I don't know why you pointed that out.
Because I looked at it and I said, what is he making? Is this like part of homeschool, like to learn about
I made triangles,
religions?
And then I was trying to show the kids, to get them to think outside the box.
Because that's what they made,
Yeah.
boxes.
And...
Someone tried to float something down the river.
Yeah, I mean, the Star of David is a classic design. It's pretty awesome. And then I went, there's like another one on top of it. Makes it a little.
I thought you were trying to get them to make like a spiral up.
Yeah, Isaac started that.
He did.
I was potentially going to do that with these two. Yeah.
Okay.
We were just trying to. I talked about how
recreate scouts.
Yeah, it was summer like playground.
Oh, that you did these kinds of crafts.
There was always like the popsicle stick craft in the summer playground, and the playground leaders were experts, or somehow I don't know if they made them themselves or maybe they ship you like awesome. They had like awesome looking things that were super tall.
Oh, pre-made. Like you'll never be able to do this.
I mean, we only went to the playground for a couple hours. They were there all day, every day. True. So maybe they were adults.
The challenge was that glue doesn't really dry fast, especially when it's damp, and it was very damp at the cabin. So
never mind. So I guess that.
Our kids also are very much into rainbow loom bands.
It was fun campfire activity.
So there was a lot of looming.
Cooking.
Got my own. I made here.
Campfire tacos were good.
I thought my favorite was the last night with the salmon and the
really good. Yeah.
Veggies.
Brussels sprouts, green beans.
Mm-hmm.
Potato back.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. It's because you got bacon fat on your potatoes.
I know I don't eat
I don't know
bacon,
to call you out on that. Vegetarian, pescatarian, don't usually have to eat bacon, but
I don't think that's why.
We had to conserve space, so the bacon-y potatoes, you just push the bacon aside and ate them, but you got bacon fat.
Yeah.
Camping was fun.
Yeah, it's very interesting how we didn't realize in advance that our campsite would have no cellular connection and no internet at all. Did you? Because I would have warned our families.
That's on here, being disconnected, but we can talk about it now. Is that what that meant?
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
That's okay.
Yeah, but it was good.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. We didn't warn our families.
Yes.
I mean, they knew we were going camping, and they suspected we might not be able to contact them. But we thought we'd get like one last text message off to them or something, and
we're here.
Then we were already at the campsite and spent a day and a half there, maybe, and drove out to get ice cream so we could get Wi-Fi connection and say we're okay.
Yeah.
And everything's okay. I was thinking of what was it like those people who go into 30-day, 90-day retreats and then they come back and like Donald Trump is president and like everything's changed.
Were you afraid that the world would have?
Yeah. How much can the world change in 1 week? I don't know. I don't even know. I barely check the news or anything. We're just posting a podcast and maybe does YouTube still work? I think.
I hope so. Maybe.
It was a fun time. I like being disconnected. And that's the thing too. Like even in that moment we got and we were in like some boondock town anyway where we got ice cream. I don't want to make fun of it, but there was no internet.
Even in the town.
90% of the place driving through the town or whatever, on the phone anyway.
Yeah.
And so.
There must be a cellular plan that has connection. It just wasn't our plan.
It was in the Verizon area.
Yeah.
It was more Sprint type town.
I
don't know. Is Sprint even their own network? I don't think so. AT&T. But when we got like access for a little bit, it was like crazy tempting to for me to check email, check Twitter, check stock market, check Slack, work. Check, it was like
email was the first that came to your mind. That's creative.
Was it? No.
I feel like you're not like an email checker.
I just know that's what other people would expect. I don't. I didn't have any important emails coming in.
It was good.
It was a good time. It's good being disconnected.
Do you want to give a construction update of nothing?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, today when we got home, then the inspector came over. And we heard that the contractor is watching the show.
Yes. Hi, Eric.
It's something like I'm addressing it. What did he say? Like, did he say? I don't know. What did we say? It's taking longer than we thought. And he was like, "It's not taking longer than we thought." Is that how your conversation went with him?
It was something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I was.
I hope that we weren't mean. I don't think that we are. Not for
Kim's like, "Oh, do we have to only talk nicely about the construction?" I was like, "I'll just stick to."
It's only nice
honest.
things to say.
It makes me. I don't think I lied about things in the past, but
no.
But hey, maybe he's probably super sensitive to it and like.
Yeah, he wants
something.
to do a good job.
It's going well so far.
It
was neat when they were inspecting. The lights were on inside.
Oh right.
And so I could see through the big windows with the lights
from
on.
Our
and
house.
That's not the lighting that's going to be there
even
eventually. That's just a little bit of lighting now.
Right.
And it was pretty cool. I mean, see inside. I could like picture myself sitting at a little desk down there. Although I guess I wouldn't see myself. I would see you down at the desk, maybe.
Whoa.
Bill and Ted.
Okay. Bill and Ted comes out today, we think. Our son's
today for
really
us.
excited. Today for us. So we're gonna rent that tonight and watch it because it's funny. We like Keanu. Yeah. We like the movies growing up, and we've caught our kids up on the first two in the saga trilogy now.
Yeah.
We listened to a bit of the soundtrack on the way home. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite awkward to watch Keanu like affect young teenage guy.
Yeah. What's his
self?
Is he going to basically play himself or as an adult in the?
I found
he's
the
an adult,
trailer. He was as similar to his youth self.
Yeah.
As he was.
Was he Ted to Ted, or was he Bill?
I think he's
Ted from Bill and Ted. Okay, so you
could
it's
be
not
completely wrong.
I grew up and now I'm very serious. Whoa.
No. But Keanu's great.
Yeah. And the other guy whose name we forgot.
I know. We were like, did he do anything else?
A little bit.
That poor guy.
Yeah. His name's Alex something, right? Who knows? Alex Summers. Alex Summers is a comic character that's Havoc from. Okay, anyway.
Okay. Cool. Construction good.
Yeah. Next week, are they doing insulation and?
They need to get a sign off from the engineer about structure, and then they'll begin insulation.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to start digging next week.
Yeah.
Which is going to be, I think, really scary.
Yeah.
I think we should take another trip. Maybe I should.
What's scary about it for you?
Watching my yard be dug up and the fear of the unknown of what it's going to be.
It's just going to be a trench. It's going to be a giant trench, right?
Yes.
And they're going to knock out the trees. In my mind for a little bit,
the dogs are going to be crazy.
Punched through the ground, but that's not obviously dig up the whole ground.
Yes, there's going to be
lay the pipe in and then put it back
new
over.
Grass. There's going to be mud. The dogs are going to be muddy. The dogs are going to be curious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're going to be barking.
And there's going to be like a metal plate over the
driveway.
There'll be a bridge.
Yeah.
Figure it out. I guess what's scary is they're all kind of like, there's electrical wires underground, potentially like the geothermal heating system, but it's probably closer to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some water pipes, but not where they're going to be digging. But they might have to dig something for water pipes eventually. Anyway, but they're just like, we'll dig in, and if we see it, if it's, then we'll figure it out. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like the first thing that's kind of like that. I mean, that's the way it has to be. But I wonder if we sound that way when we like talk to.
Don't just build your membership site. I'll be fine. Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna do if? Like, I don't know.
I know. No, that's
just
true.
Do it.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna like embody myself telling a lower experience level membership site builder, WordPress, anything site builder, that they're gonna be okay.
Yeah, it's like, and what's the worst? Okay.
Copy paste, change line 17. You're good.
Yeah, like you launch, no one buys. Okay, then you deal with it. Or like, someone asks you for a refund, then you deal with it. People like get really worried, and we're like, what happens if you dig into a power line? You're like, your power goes off, and then you deal with it. I don't know.
I think that we're not the type of people who aren't like doing the action in charge and control, have full knowledge of like we don't put things in other people's hands that we don't have a deep understanding of, and maybe not even. So like, we don't use an investment company. We don't.
We're very controlling.
You know,
we like to be
we
involved.
build it ourselves. Things that we could hire out, we do ourselves.
I guess we like,
but it'll be okay.
It's kind of like
we have
that.
Faith in Eric.
Yeah, we do. Eric, hi. That's like that.
I didn't tell him we were recording today.
That's like that. It's every Friday, hopefully. That strip.
We've been doing very good on that, by the way.
The strip great. The strip by the windows. There's like a little inch like gap where the cement hits the metal from the window. Mm-hmm. And you were very concerned, like, what are they going to do with that? And I was I was like, I don't know. It's not like in my mind, it's like, it's not the first time there was like a little gap in front of the door. I'm like, I don't know. They're going to do what they always do when there's a gap. But I can't imagine what it is because I'm not a carpenter or whatever window person. So I don't know. But did he say with her? And then, but at the same time, you can't just like assume they're going to take care of everything. I think it's good to be involved a little bit and have an understanding because.
Do you think you have more flexibility in this because you do it for me in our life? Like
just let you take care of things?
Certain things. And I don't do that well with us in our relationship. Like I don't just trust. I love money stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I handle investments.
But there are things that you just like on the road to camping, did you bring a Bluetooth speaker?
Yeah.
And I was so not irritated, but I got to a point that the number of questions I was getting for, did you bring this? Did you bring this? I was like, pack yourself.
You really feel that way though?
At a certain point, I was like, how many of these questions am I going to get? Am I responsible? The answer is no.
I guess
Who is responsible?
That's pressure on you. If I say, hey, do we have this? And you don't have it.
Then you're
going to feel like I blamed you. No, but then you're like, hey, you had a chance.
Maybe.
When we were running around in the morning, I was like, oh, Bluetooth speakers. Like that wasn't on any of our other lists.
No.
And to be fair, like even the list was like certain stuff, like 95% of the stuff wasn't even on the list. It's just like,
it was already passed.
Yeah. Kim's definitely going to get all her toothbrushes and, all this stuff that's needed for cooking and all this stuff, like all the sheets. She said she was getting sheets and then she's going to, I don't have to check, it's like, and when the kids were asking me stuff, I was like, I know, Mom, of course got that,
We didn't miss anything.
We did have a Bluetooth speaker. And it was nice. We didn't have like songs downloaded on Spotify though.
I had my songs downloaded. No.
It was Tame Impala in the car.
Yeah.
And the first 3 songs on the Yacht Rock playlist. And
I listen to a lot of think I'm a masseuse. Retreat. I don't know. I listen to retreat music. So we had all of that.
Chill. Oh no, what is it's all called?
Peaceful
blunt, peaceful
Spotify.
Guitar. Peaceful retreat, peaceful piano.
And then there's another playlist called Flowing Through Space.
Yeah.
On Spotify. Highly recommend both. There's one song on the Flowing Through Space. You just
floating.
Skip.
Is it flowing or floating? Floating through space?
Oh, I think it's flowing. Is it floating?
Maybe I played floating and maybe it's a totally different playlist.
And then so you had the Mandy soundtrack, which is not relaxing.
No, in the woods. Deep in the woods.
Yeah, it's just kind of like
it's a little.
Oh, it is floating.
I just played that for a joke. Floating through space. Good songs. All right. Okay. Good times. Next topic is yours.
Okay.
Muting Slack channels.
So we're fresh back from a trip where we had 0 Wi-Fi, 0 Slack, 0 connection. I didn't know if the site was up the whole time, and it's very scary.
Yeah.
It's like going on a trip and your parents are taking care of your newborn and they didn't give you an update. Or you couldn't get an update.
The website is like a newborn?
It just felt like, was it alive? Was it dead? Was everything okay? And we had no way to know. Even if we were trying to be disconnected and not log on, we could still verify. We could still get that urgent text, that urgent call.
Right.
In this scenario, we could not get an urgent text and an urgent call. And like that's okay. Like how bad would it be if it went down for 3 days? It'd be weird. But okay. So it was the first trip where we were like 100% disconnected.
Yeah,
so coming back, do I catch up on all the Slack I missed? Do I read back the 100 messages in this channel? Do I ignore it? And the thought came to me that I muted these common channels in our team. Could I keep them muted? Get myself out of the like day-to-day
in the business
weeds
on the business type thing.
Yeah, and let myself like step back, be strategic, and enable our team to use the channels that we have for them to archive conversations, highlight conversations.
Yeah, even the
bring conversations back rather than a line in Slack that comes and goes. If no one sees it, no one makes note of it, it disappears unless they are championing.
So
your turn.
Okay. The website. So the website crashed a couple weeks ago in the middle of the night.
Right.
And I've been in the habit of turning off my phone because I get notifications at night. I don't know. I don't want to be disturbed. It's always like.
And like the SAT.
Joe Biden's good. He only sends
comes on at like
text
3
messages
a.m. So
yeah.
You would be getting notifications even from Joe Biden.
It's not Joe Biden. He's actually
needing your money.
Joe Biden's great. His text messages only come during daylight hours.
He's
pretty good. No, but definitely there's notifications while people are working, and my phone vibrates, so it's worthless. Like I think there is a way. I don't know how to like say like don't notify me unless like only do. I'd have to make a certain channel like only if Andrew texts me vibrate or something. I'm sure there's a way, but
whatever I did before this trip is the sauce. So I can set you up with a great
okay. So your
notification system.
But the website went down. It was down for like 5 or 6 hours because Andrew didn't have the password to reset to like reboot the DigitalOcean. Basically, sometimes the server's down and you can log in. And he might have even I don't know.
Did I come wake you up?
And he also wasn't. I was awake anyway. What did I do? I had my phone off. I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 1. Oh, you thought about waking me up or something, and then like you went to bed. It was like 1. I woke up.
The night before we left.
Was it? Okay. I was awake anyway. Well, that was a different issue. It wasn't like that. Anyway, so the site was down. So I was like, oh, it was down for a while because Andrew didn't have like the password and the authority and the stack. So I made sure he had that before we left. I don't know if you knew that, but there is like an SOP.
I saw you doing that on the last day.
He has the passwords.
An hour before we left.
Yeah. That was on my to-do before last. But you still think like something could happen, I guess, and like it would be what it is. But with regards to like muting Slack, I've been muting Slack even while I'm here, like the support channel. And I still, if they tag me specifically, I get notified.
We don't get an ad here or an at channel notification. I
don't think so.
Okay.
No. So only if they say Jason, then I notice. And this is the thing where like I was thinking about this when you brought it up earlier. It's like this should be a topic. I thought I was spending too much time helping customer support. That's what the other engineers on the team should be doing. And if it's bad enough that I need to be involved, like they'll involve me by tagging me personally. That's true. Now that's true. But what's also true is at any time I could go into customer support and like help and be like, oh, I know that answer. Here you go. That's how you do it. And like, oh, let me look at your tickets. Like, you could have done it better this way. And
just streamline, expedite.
I'm pretty good at paying merchants for support myself right now too. I'm a little bit. But that's also the thing is so it's like even like it's useful work always.
Right.
But is it really like the best work you should be doing? Not necessarily. I think it's 2 problems. Like one, you have to do that. You have to work on this other stuff and let people take care of things. But also like that's a problem. Like I shouldn't be the best at customer support. How do I make the people who do customer support better than me?
Yeah.
Like customer support is not like, it's not like I was born like, a pro athlete customer support agent.
Right.
It's just that I was the first to do it and I've been involved and whatever. So it's like what skills and knowledge and stuff, like let's level them up so that it really is like, don't like Jason customer support. He's going to fuck it up and like let the customer support agents, they do it better. Like that would be ideal. Like, how do we get there? Do we like, how do we level up the people we have? Or is there like people who are just way better at customer support that we need to find? Like that should be people who said like hire people who are better than you. And that's us being controlling maybe like where you kind of like to be in control. Whereas if someone really was a better developer than me, they would just win the conversation and be like, you should really do it this way. And then I'd be like that's tough.
Stand in the corner, Jason.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever really worked with a better engineer than me in the capacity where they were, besides you, in the capacity where I was paying them. And so maybe I just need to hire the right, whatever WordPress developers.
You just have age on them too,
and
like time and familiarity, all those things. Yeah.
But when I hired people who maybe thought they were better than me in some ways, like it just was a problem because it's like, why am I fighting you? Like it was easier when I just listened. And I don't know that I know the answers, but I guess like it's also a little scary, like especially like it's a software product, so like that's really important that like if someone knows that better than me, I don't know, like I don't know. So it's weird, like that advice of like hire people who are like smarter than you is like that's nice, but then you like I don't know, you got to be like walk through that process because you could totally hire someone who seems to be smarter than you, and then they walk your business off a cliff, and you're like, what were you doing? Like I really thought that we should, refactor the entire plugin. And like no, or whatever. Who knows?
I guess what my concern is that when you remove yourself from the line, let's say, from production, for too long,
what happens?
Does your team have the same level of respect for your efforts, your contributions, or do they like to see and they're going to maybe watch this and let us know later, but like I'm concerned about like presenting to them my commitment, my availability, my helpfulness, all these things that stepping back and, muting the channels that are the most active and allowing myself to be strategic, to, think high level, to kind of just breathe a moment.
Yeah.
Where I think that's a good thing for me and maybe for the business, especially as we kind of transition to you homeschooling more and me kind of more, captaining
in charge,
things. I worry about stepping back and how I'm perceived. Is that feminine? Is that
no? I worry about
is that everyone? And how often do you like? We missed a team call with a new team member the first week. That's really weird.
We're supposed to introduce him and we weren't there.
We were on a trip and we, he hasn't met me.
But man, it's good. Like the business runs without us. It's kind of exciting. I don't know. Like, we're not the most important. Like, we don't have to be there.
Yeah.
I think
it's not ego. Like none of this is ego. None of this is. I don't think that. I don't like circle back and think like I need to know what everyone. You think I like to know what everyone's doing all the time, and maybe I do. But I also like. I still feel so needed at times, but I'm probably not. I can go away for
maybe it's
4 days and it's okay.
We talked about this before, I think, about giving employees space to make mistakes. So it's kind of related to that. We're like, of course you think you could do it better.
That's the evolution of that. It's like when you give them space, how do you maintain?
You get surprised, maybe. Like that video, like the Travis.
That's so awesome.
Travis,
thank you.
Like we were involved before the videos on locking down video with PM Pro, with Vimeo and YouTube.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the saxophone.
Well, that's related too. Like he published those blog posts on locking down videos. Like we had worked on it before, but we weren't there to say this is good, publish it. And then related to that, like a whole interview with someone who runs a video courseware site for. So, and I was like, we listened to it in the car. I was like, this is like some of the best content. We're gonna promote it.
Yeah, the kids kept wanting to turn it off, and we were like, no, just leave it on. It was great. I bet part of them was probably learning.
Sure. Yeah.
Not only about like, should I learn music?
The life of a
musician. Should I have passion about music? Yeah. But then also like running a video membership product.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. So, I think I had thought of having those kinds of interviews with people who run membership sites, and I had an idea of how I would do it if I was host, but I think Travis does it better. And I'm like, he just does it better. Let him do it. I don't mind. I should do it.
Right.
So sometimes you'll be surprised and like, here's something that he does do better. But it's hard when, you feel like, I don't know. I don't think it's not like, I think it's a little different. Like when we're gone, there might be a little bit of like, I don't think people slack. I think people turn it on.
I did.
Yeah.
They did.
I think they slack when we're there. They're like, oh, Jason can catch us. Or like, it's the end of my day. Here's a tough ticket.
I don't think that everyone. He might think that.
I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of that going on. Like if are always in there doing a little bit of support, they kind of expect us to be around. I think what's more effective, we come in for one day and we like, hey, I'm doing support today because it's overloaded. And we help out and they're like, wow, thank you for helping on support. And like, oh, that's how you do it. And that was a tough ticket. I see what you did there. They learn. And so we're still like in it because I think it's important to lead from within and not just be a boss and tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you want to be the general that's on the battlefield with them. But that doesn't mean every day you're on the battlefield. That's a waste of a general. Like, you know, like it's a general is like willing to get into the battle. But, you know, I think the employees know that our value is we're more valuable, you know, and they want us to do that. Or it's like if the metaphor is like, you know, captaining a ship.
Okay.
They're like, they want us there helping them to tie, you know, the ropes and set up the sail. But they're like, who's captaining the ship? Like they feel more confident when they know we're captaining the captaining the ship. So smart.
Okay.
They're like, are they still, you know, like, hey, they like, hey, the business is being taken care of, and like the high level decisions are being taken care of. I think they feel that as well. So, and also we step back to work on higher level business, but even if we step back to vacation, like I think they know we deserve it. That when I'm telling them like, you need to go on vacation. We need to go on vacations and like
that's not
get
forever.
some space
That's
too.
because it's been this like,
you know,
hardcore period for us. So like COVID hits, it's a little bit of a rocky road. Like people's lives are troubled, but like we're steadfast, like nonstop. You know, who took breaks since? Not one of us, neither one of us. So now we've taken a break. We worked part of Tuesday morning. We left midday Tuesday. We returned midday Friday. It's very short.
Friday. And now does this work? This doesn't work. Does it work? Yeah, it's a couple days. Oh my God, we took 2 days off. 3 days.
I don't think that we're like sick. I don't think we're like overworking necessarily for people, you know, with this type of business. We're not like obsessive about it. We sleep. You know, we do turn off.
Better than some others. Yep.
Sure. Pat your back.
I'll pat your back.
I'll pat my back. Thank you. But the idea that our employees respect us and allowed us to value this family time, this time off, wonderful. But like there has to be space in between. I think. In between
what?
Trips. Like you can't repeatedly be unavailable.
Yeah. Okay. There's a version of the future where
I never had a traditional job, a traditional boss. I've only seen movies and read books where there were horrible bosses.
We need to put the call out. Are you a business owner who just owns a business, checks in once a week for an hour, maybe once every couple months, but otherwise you're just, you know, surfing, dating, and doing whatever you want?
Yeah, doing something that maybe you're building something, but it's not visible to your team.
Or like, I don't know, you don't have to be, but yeah, there's a concept of the future where like I joke about retiring and it's like I actually retire. And I'm like, hey, that like once a week I'm basically having check-ins and everyone has it under control. And I thank you so much for enabling my lifestyle. And you can check my Instagram to see all the cool stuff I'm doing that costs more money than I pay you.
Here's me meditating.
Yeah.
Here's me meditating.
And are they going to be pissed because I don't know. I think there's a way to do that with integrity. And we have integrity, so we would do that with integrity. Like there's a way to do that as an asshole as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I think our employees, we'll have to ask them. I know they've even said as much. Like they like to see our success, and they know that when we're successful, like they, you know, that helps them too. And like we share it, and like and then we deserve it. And they feel, you know, they look up to us and respect us for like
probably
what we
like a scale thing, like because it's small enough that like. The thing I said in the car was like,
if we bought a yacht or something.
We stepped back enough that a new employee could join the team and like not interface with us for a stretch of time before their first time interfacing with us, and we would be strangers. We wouldn't have any relationship with that person. Sorry, they can't hear. Remember, you watched back.
Yeah, that's right.
So they wouldn't have any relationship with us, so that rapport wouldn't have been built.
Okay.
I mean, we're not getting it. We're just talking and talking. This is how our conversations go. We're just talking and talking.
That's okay.
And talking, and we should stop talking.
But it's good. We have a short schedule here.
Muting.
Oh, I get the last word. That's interesting. So I think you should keep muting. You should consider keeping some of them on, see how it goes, and not feel bad about it. And check in. and see how it's going. It's okay to check in a little bit and not have to be there every day. Like that kind of is a healthy way to like give space for the team, and then you check in, course correct, kind of have that mindset.
You know how I am in life, like I can't let things get missed.
Yeah.
Like if you mention a meal you'd like.
Yeah.
Like I make it a dinner that week. Like I can't let, or if Isaac says like, I'm curious about this topic. Like I dive in, I buy the book, I find the resources. Like I'm listening, and then I'm like
maybe
scaffolding, facilitating how I can. Like by muting those channels, I lose all these little tidbits and factoids
that you think help you, or you think if you would have been involved, it would have been a better outcome.
That I think might be lost.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
That scares me. You need a psychologist to analyze.
Okay. Yeah.
You get the last word. What's your last word?
Sure. I guess I'll revise my last word. That's like one of the base camp recommendations is not to keep track on a list of like every incoming feature.
Yeah.
It's kind of like just keep it in your head. If it's actually important, you'll hear it multiple times and you'll do it. If it's not important, it'll seem important, but like it'll go away. Or if you're like, oh my God, there was that really important thing. Someone had like a really good idea a week ago and I can't remember. It's like, you can't remember. It wasn't that important. No one asked again in the meantime. It wasn't really that important, but it just seemed like it was. And if you were checking the channel every day, it would seem important. So in reality, like you're missing the forest for the trees because you're in the weeds in the forest and you're like, oh, that looks like a really big tree. It's important. But in reality, you want to have a bigger perspective.
I love nature. And Thank you for that analogy.
Yeah, nature analogy. So I think it's healthy. Like
I don't drive ships. I don't command.
Be open-minded to that. You might like when you experience like, oh, because I was pulled back, there was a better outcome. Like latch onto that and be like, that's why we should do it that way. Potentially, I don't know. Just an idea. All right, next topic. Mine to introduce here. Minecraft school. One of the campfire conversations I had with the kids.
It needs a song, Minecraft.
I was Minecraft. I was trying to think of like a Minecraft.
I've never played Minecraft. I don't. I've watched.
You never like at all.
I've never like placed a brick. No.
Don't we? We don't have an account for you.
Block.
Don't we have an account for you? No.
I don't want an account. No, thank you. I'm okay.
But I
live in the real world. Thank
you. But seriously, like Minecraft is probably like the best like VR second lifestyle.
I accept that it's educational and it's amazing, and our kids build amazing, beautiful things.
Okay. Yeah. I guess so when we were at the campfire, I was asking Isaac about ideas for subject matter to study, classes, things to learn. I want to take advantage of the fact that we're homeschooled and we can study things that they would laugh at, like literally laugh at. I remember backstory. I was in school Isaac was doing a presentation later in the day, but I got there early. So I just sat through like the morning, routine.
Okay.
And part of that was Isaac's teacher asked him, it went something like this. Isaac's teacher asked him like, oh, do you have your idea for like a paper?
Not IR, something other.
It was some other like, it was like a quick paper. It's gonna be like a 300-word paper on like an important historical moment. I'm trying to remember this correctly. And Isaac was like, yeah, I got it. He had it already written. And it was like, I had to do it video games. I think it was like about
it's the important thing,
Miyamoto-san and how important like Mario was as a game. It was something like that. It was like,
was it the interview historical figure?
Yes. Okay. Maybe that was it. Okay, so I don't remember the actual assignment. It was
so there was a writing
historical figure was like, I think it was Miyamoto or something from the inventor of Mario.
I think it was the inventor of Minecraft. I think the writing prompt was what historical figure would you like to be able to interview?
Yes. See, Kim wasn't there, but she
Isaac
remembers better than
wrote
me.
His writing prompt was 300 words. I would like to go back.
But it wasn't the full thing. It was just like the thesis, like 2 sentences. I'm going to write about this. And that was the step. That's what she needed. Okay. And she took it and literally said, like, laughed at it. And she said, no, a real historical figure. Ripped it up, Oh no, she gave it to him and he ripped it up and threw it out. And I was like, he just ripped that up in front of her. Like, why did she let him do it? Like, first, why wasn't she open-minded enough to be like, it doesn't have to be like a fucking general. It could be someone.
It said historical.
From the arts and video games are art. Like, I don't know, like it's a Montessori school. It's supposed to be a little bit more open-minded. Like, you know, if it was like a historical figure from U.S. history or from before 1950, like you need a more specific
writing prompt.
Like the prompt was like, talk to a historical figure, and it's like, this is like 100 years from now, people are going to remember the guy who invented Mario.
I mean, no one watching this wouldn't
like, or no, Minecraft.
The inventor of Minecraft, whose name we don't know. We didn't read the paper. Our son didn't get to write.
Yeah, and that would have been interesting. Yeah. Like, so she should have. I thought she should have embraced that and be like, yeah, write about something that's interesting to you. It's still historical, or like, or even if she said like, try something else, but nicer, because he like was like, oh, I guess I was and ripped it up there. I was like, whoa, he just like that's like a expression that like should be like, I don't know. And I was there, and maybe I don't know if because I was there it was different. I don't think so. I think they kind of ignored me. I was like, that was wild. Okay, that's backstory. Okay. That's if it's Minecraft, that's even more appropriate.
It was.
So then I was like, hey, what can we do for classes? And we had a bunch of ideas. But a lot of them could be like, one of them was to build like something historical in Minecraft and get to build, like rebuild Gettysburg. It's probably already done. I haven't searched it yet. Someone probably, if not, we should do it. And it'd be a fun project to be like the geography of Gettysburg. You learn geography and you lay out the geography in Minecraft, and then like where were the buildings, and then you learn a little bit about how like buildings and life was organized in like that time period. And then like the battle, obviously you could like, you know, draw the battle line somehow in Minecraft. And it's kind of like using Minecraft as an excuse to learn about Gettysburg. We were talking about that. And then there was something else. See, I wasn't able to take. I have to take notes because my brain doesn't work that way. I was like, these are good ideas, but it was kind of like it was like, oh, you could almost do every subject.
All my life with note taking your brain.
And there was there's kind of like you could mod it to look like Gettysburg has those like all these fences, like the wood is like
split rail.
Yeah, or I don't know whatever.
Oh no, that other style where they're like.
I don't know.
Laid on it, yeah.
Was that even like a defensive thing too?
Probably like impale yourself.
Yeah, something. So you could mod Minecraft to have a different kind of fence, and so you got kind of like a little programming / art like project in there, writing stories, doing drama. So I was thinking about like how you could, you know, do almost any subject like in Minecraft, and I was like, oh, cool. Like it'd be like, you know, keep coming back to this one thing might be an interesting way to. Like
but you wouldn't exclusively educate in Minecraft. You would need external resources.
Yeah.
You would need to, you know, either use online or physical book related.
Yeah, like you would study the geography of Gettysburg, and instead of using Play-Doh on cardboard to recreate it, you would use Minecraft or something because like the kids are into that. And of course,
what was like meaningful about understanding the geography of the Battle of Gettysburg to you?
It's
like what's long lasting. Like if you think of school, I'm not tearing that. I love the idea. It's good.
Good, yeah.
I don't know if Gettysburg is.
It's good to be challenged.
Okay. But what is the long lasting lesson that his life is better by knowing a layout of a battlefield of a pivotal U.S. history war battle. Like when I step back and think of our ability to homeschool, I think of our ability to choose to teach subjects and areas that are like more like long-lasting, life-enriching, either skills-based or habits or just not specifically based in like facts and history. I know that this is maybe how
it's like an excuse
to
teach
learn history through Minecraft. Great, but could you use Minecraft School for a broader?
Oh, like instead of is Gettysburg, Minecraft is wasted on Gettysburg. There should be something else that'd be more valuable.
Or I think could Minecraft teach you like proper balance of like Minecraft doesn't fall apart when you unbalance builds, does it? Like architecture and like physics of structure, right? It doesn't teach you that.
Yeah.
So you can't learn like structure through it.
But you can make something.
But like learning structure and learning that, if you're
Well, I
going to
think
build a campfire,
right
you
there.
need to stack
It's
the
like
wood this way so it doesn't collapse.
like learning at all is useful.
Yes.
It's like, how do you learn? And then like having a goal, like having an idea of like a project,
Mhm.
and then figuring out how to tackle it, being like, oh, I had one single thought, make Gettysburg in Minecraft. Oh, okay, breaking it down into smaller pieces, and how do you break it up? Like that process is really useful. Of how to like have a big idea. It's a big idea. But well, and kids like all the time. I always struggle with this too with the kids scaffolding. It's like they're like, oh yeah, let's just make Gettysburg in Minecraft. And I think Isaac probably thinks it takes 2 hours, and like it would just be done. And it doesn't. It's like it takes like 2 months. Even when we were talking about, I was trying to say like, yeah, the first week we do this, and he's like, week. Like, I was like, yeah, like this will be like a whole I think it's like a whole semester is building this thing. So just building something start to finish is important. And then I do think it is important to learn history and to learn about the Civil War. And it's weird, like, and I was thinking too about how like, I think history as it was taught to us, like every year you learn about World War II and it's something different. And sometimes it's kind of like,
just gets grittier and grittier.
Probably. Yeah. They're like, okay, now you're ready for this.
Yeah.
But it's the part about like the battle lines and stuff is like the strategy. I mean, it's kind of cool, but you're like, what is the usefulness of learning? Like, like Blitzkrieg. Maybe, I don't know, like if you're gonna, but like it's interesting, like because I'm open-minded about learning anything, but it is kind of like that ties less into like the modern day in our society, I think, in our normal interactions than like. And the Gettysburg, it's funny, like when we went to Gettysburg last year a little bit, and there's all kinds of interesting exhibits, and it's like it's an awesome experience. Like you feel like you're on hallowed ground and like learning about the past. And I think the kids were kind of into like how the soldiers just came and like took over this woman's house and that kind of thing. But like my dad was there and the guy, and they just nerd out over the battle shit. And they're like, they're like, people get like really nerdy over like the war battles, and you're like, we don't fight war. I mean, it's like, I don't know. That feels like more useless to learn. But if it's fun, like whatever.
Yeah. I think it's more like, why did this war have to happen? What were the sentiments of the opposition? And
I think that's my job to like pull that in, like as we're learning.
That's like the only part of learning about war I think that matters. Like
when you're building,
why did it have to happen? Like
I forget her name.
What were the different people's opinions and feelings, and like what was the outcome? And do you agree or disagree with the outcome of that event? And was it necessary? Was it successful?
That I think that's what taught me as a teacher, that as he's lining up, here's where the Confederates were, you talk about like where were they coming from and what were their motivations and stuff, and I think about like to add context to like the busy work that they're doing. The other idea around that, we could try to finish it up though, is I thought it'd be cool if I could be on top of this and build lessons around Minecraft. Like here's how you learn about Gettysburg in Minecraft. Like bundle that up into a product. See, I'm always trying to sell stuff.
Segue into your next topic.
But second semester would be selling the class.
Build the business.
With the kids. So it's like, hey kids, we did this like really cool course.
That's cool.
We try to share it online. Maybe if part of it is like share the Gettysburg Minecraft map and see if there's interest, and be like, oh, like, hey, guess what? People might be interested in this. We could sell it. Semester 2 is starting a business selling the stuff you learned last year. That could be cool. Segue.
I like it.
You get the final word. I'm sorry.
Final word. The final word here is, above all, I want to use homeschool to teach our kids about atypical skills that school isn't designed to teach them.
Right.
And we can probably do that through Minecraft. It would be interesting too.
Yeah.
But it would be cool to brainstorm that list of non-learned in school skills that they will need as adults at some point.
Totally. I agree. Yeah. The next topic is being disconnected, but we kind of talked about that. I feel like we talked a
lot about that.
Is there any more to talk about it?
I think we should talk about how easily our kids handled it. Because I think that's a fear of a lot of parents who have children that love a virtual environment, that have online friends, that use, platforms to engage with other kids, like Roblox and other platforms, are very, consumed with that. I don't want to use the word addicted, because that's a dirty word. I know that these video game lands are so exciting. There's instant feedback, there's approval, there's success, there's challenge, and it.
Yeah, our kids were playing like 2-3 hour chunks of games every day, probably.
2 times 3, 6 hours total per day leading up to this trip.
Which is more or less the different families, but it was a lot. And it is kind of, and we deal with it in everyday life. We're like, hey, we're going for just a little hike in the afternoon. And they're like, it's going to eat into my video game time, Dad. So maybe, is that going to be okay? Are you going to be able to give me time later to make up for it?
When the time is approaching that they're.
Yeah.
If we're not home at the.
Did we talk about times before?
Times that they're expecting to be there.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah. So we're kind of worried about their ability to like keep it cool. Yeah. Like there's been some trips in the past where like they just were uninterested and bored by everything.
Yeah.
But
I think I understand this. I think it's that you
didn't
need
want to participate in the
100% disconnected.
That helps.
That really is. It's possible, and it will work better than you believe. Like leaving devices at home and going to a hotel room that has a television and has a common game room isn't being disconnected in the way that we were.
They will latch onto it. If that campground had like an Xbox room or whatever.
Right.
I said how we
even a pinball machine, like one game destination.
Yeah. And they would have been fixated on it.
You're screwed. So you need to find an environment that you bring no devices to and has no ability to connect to outside devices. They know it's there. Like they'll find, If it was like we had them just for the car ride, but then we're like, hey, we're not having them. Like they know. That's the thing is like, and you don't want to tell kids like, just because you're like, why? Like, I know it's over there. I know we could charge it. Like, why can't I play iPad? I want to play iPad. It would be fun, like, and so you have to like either lie to them or give them something really heavy that they're not going to understand to be like, I think it's good for you if you take a break, whereas like if you actually don't have the iPad, then like you're like, yeah, we don't have one, so you gotta do or I mean the kids were remarkable, and we also were super prepared with popsicle sticks and loom bands and books, and like really good books. We bought them. We brought a lot. We had a campsite. We set up a hammock. We set up a slack line.
Yeah.
It was right on a creek.
Yeah, they can play in the creek.
But that is like effort of the family, of the parents to say like, our kids are so consumed with gaming and the pleasure it brings them. If we put ourselves in a disconnected environment for a period of time, how will we entertain them?
Yeah.
And while also balancing that with like, I need to sit and read my Kindle.
Yeah.
Or I need to sit and read this book I brought because I deserve rest and relaxation. Like there's nothing more restful than going on a trip, giving your kid iPad and SpongeBob on TV, and like you get to just phone it in. Like that's not the goal, but I don't know. I think like I was less hopeful.
Yeah,
going
they did better than we
it,
thought.
And they did awesome.
There was, what was that Adam Sandler movie where they go in the woods with the kids? What was that called? Adults, grown-ups? Grown-ups. They go to a funeral and they're camping, and he has these like spoiled kids.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's called Grown-Ups. And the first day, I was like, it could be like this. The first day, the kids are like, whining about stuff. Yeah, and then like the next day, they're having fun, and by the end of it, like they're kind of like participating in the camp activities. And I was like, it could be like that. And it didn't even take a whole day. Like they got into it. It was fun.
But it was because of the lack of availability.
I think it was, and the whole car ride.
It was available.
And there was a lot of like them doing the math on the car ride of how many days? We'll get home by 4:00 on Friday. I'm like, yeah, sometime. Okay, maybe. The kids really had to know.
Then we made that detour on the way home, and it was like,
what? But I don't know. So it's good. They're growing up. Maybe they're handling it. We don't have to be so worried about it. Like, but also it was good to just be prepared and have a bunch of stuff for them to do. It was good leaving the devices at home completely. That's something we learned.
It encourages me to seek out more fully disconnected trips.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like, I think even if our phones were able to get Wi-Fi, they would have asked. They don't generally ask to use our phones.
Yeah.
They don't have phones of their own. So.
And even if they would see us on it, I think we
weren't on our own phones.
No. And when we went to get ice cream and we were there, they kind of, but I think in other times, around here when we're saying like, hey, you guys got to disconnect, and then we're kind of like, you know, and like, what are you doing? Like, this is work. It's important or something. Or even if it's not, I don't like. I'm an adult. I should be able to monitor my own Twitter addiction. But they notice, and they like get the sense that it's kind of not fair in some sense. But yeah. So that helped. Not like we weren't, you know. Yeah, I don't know. Good. Cool.
Probably good for you too.
To disconnect, yeah. Reset my brain. What part were you thinking? To be off the news?
Off the news.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just want to make sure I don't want to talk over you.
Off the news.
I want to learn.
For sure.
Listen. Yeah, it's bad for me when I'm on the news too much.
I think so.
Yeah. Why? Because it just affects me.
I think it's just so unpredictable, and you've talked about that. It's designed to
the outrage
make
engine.
You react.
Yeah,
yes.
Like Twitter and Facebook, social media, they make more money the more outraged you are.
Right.
It's all about engagement. The best way to engage is outrage, and so it's an outrage engine. And it's weird. Like I fight it. Like I find new ways to use Twitter, like ways to block things, use lists, search, make sure follow certain people. Just consciously try to scroll, like not engage with things and engage with the content you want. But it's weird. Like it's like, why are you putting yourself through this? And also, there's like a chemical thing going on, like the dopamine head of it.
I think I'm continually trying to encourage you to find people in your life to have one-on-ones with that.
I don't like people that much.
You can have the types of conversations that I don't entertain.
It's hard, but I mean, I have some, but I got to work at it. And especially like in COVID,
this
like
is
it's harder.
Into our next topic, where I said you should talk to John about that.
So John is my friend, and I talk about random things about.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you want a last word? Being disconnected.
Being disconnected. That was good. We did a good job.
Refill.
Maybe we learned something. I think I like our kids.
Do that again. That's what I learned.
Yeah, more like environment is key.
Mm-hmm.
Try to take that lesson. All right. The final topic. Next topic.
8 minutes.
Okay. While we're I'm trying to. This came up on the trip. Someone was thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
But we're always thinking about business app ideas. An idea I have this pretty awesome spreadsheet.
You heard it here, folks.
Pretty awesome. It's an awesome spreadsheet. I have a template. I can try to find it, and I think I zeroed everything out. And so it's like an older version. But it's basically just a balance sheet. It's income statement and like a list of expenses tied together. I have tabs for like how we figure out how much money we can invest and do. There's tabs for like estimating taxes. It's kind of like my own version of Mint. I don't know what Mint does, but I assume it does some of the similar things where it kind of like keeps track of your income and your expenses and figures out how you're doing and shows you like a big net worth, number that you can kind of keep track of. And so often I have it in Google spreadsheet form, and I sometimes kind of struggle with it. And so I'm like, hey, I want to build an app, even just to scratch an itch. I'm like, if this was an app, it would be easier in some ways. Like I could code it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm like, should I learn like how to code Google Sheets? Like I haven't done that. I used to code Excel sheets a lot. Or like, should I build something? I also think like this could be useful for other people. It's like, do people need this? Or sometimes I don't know. Like I feel like I have this like financing and personal financing kind of pretty locked down. I spend a lot of time thinking about it. And a lot of people don't, and they kind of would benefit. I ran that workshop for business folks about like how to think about money in your business. And so I have some product like stuff around that could be part of it. And I was like, it could be useful for other people. So it's this thing where it's like, I have this thing I do, scratch an itch, I could build something, but also I'm like thinking I could sell it or.
So the balance sheet concept is taking the current balances of all of your kind of assets.
Yep.
All of the
like your house, your car.
Current balances. Well, not the balance of your car, but like the value of your car. The fair market value of your car
is an asset.
As an asset. So anything that you have that is a positive value,
Mm-hmm.
and then a liabilities.
Yeah.
Do you analyze the liabilities on, and then you have it as like a monthly, right?
Yeah, there's a set like
you kind
expenses.
of have like a total, and then you have like a recurring.
Yeah,
is that separate? You have like a total view.
The income statement of
the income statement's like a total view at a point in time.
Yeah, it's like this much income, what we pay ourselves, this much monthly recurring expenses. That's broken down in another sheet that says like Netflix, $15.
Yeah.
Gas. Remember when we were looking through it, we saw the gas.
Oh yeah, we don't see that.
We were estimating like $400 a month in gas, which is what it cost us before we moved to this house. We were far from where the kids went to school. We literally drove, a half hour.
Gas car. I thought you were thinking gas heating gas.
No, gas car. That's what that was.
So a sheet that analyzes all of your monthly, costs of living.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Even estimated cost of living, like we intend to dine out and spend $400 per month on meals that we don't prepare. Yeah. And we intend to pay $350 per month in grocery bills. Mm-hmm. So even part of it is estimates and part of it is kind of, I know what my trash bill is. And try
to make a decision. Say like, I really like Starbucks coffee. I'm going to spend $5 every day on Starbucks.
I think Mint does that well. Mint
that's what Mint does. Yeah.
Data from all of your ways that you pay for things and tells you what you actually spend. Right. So it isn't a decision. It isn't a guess.
You think you're only eating out once a week, but you're really eating out twice a week, and you can't lie to Mint because it's connected to your credit cards.
And Mint knows what those business names are classified as, and it tells you your breakdown.
And it knows you're not driving your car anymore because you're locked down. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. So Mint does that part pretty well.
Yes.
And I haven't used Mint. Like who knows? I was like there are tools that do this. I know like I follow the retire early FIRE, financial independence retire early community, and a lot of those folks have their own super spreadsheets too. Okay. And there's something about it. For us, we always when we toyed with using Mint, this kind of thing where we have business and personal expenses and IRS, they're totally separate, and our taxes are clean and we do them really well. But in reality, like it's kind of like it's intertwined.
Yeah.
You're like your heating bill, 25% of it goes to the office, and it's like, is that a personal expense or a business? It's both, and we tell our accountant it's both. But you know what I mean. So Mint's not really set up for like you having like
anonymously operated out of your home. Yeah.
But in reality, like as much as possible, we should try to like mentally separate the business from the independent. Like to do justice to the business. The other thing that's interesting that I think I do would be a useful product is we have this thing called the Coleman Family Fund, where I invest money. So we have.
It's not actually a fund. It's just
not.
A name.
I looked into it. It's not worth it, but maybe it is.
Of a thing.
Yeah.
We talked about.
I guess what happened was like the kids get money from grandparents and stuff.
Yeah.
And instead of just putting in a checking account and let it sit, I couldn't do that. I'm like, I'm going to invest. I'm going to buy Tesla stock with your, I'm going to buy Bitcoin with your stuff. I'm going to manage it. And what I started at first.
You're 3, you don't understand.
Yeah. And at first, like, there was a year where I opened an E-Trade account in each kid's name.
Right.
And I don't know, like Marin had a tax return.
Yeah.
And Isaac didn't. There was some checkbox.
Like 2-year-old with a tax return.
She had, yes.
What are we doing?
She didn't have to pay taxes, but she filed a return.
Yeah.
But then what was interesting about that was that money was like in their name already. And so, but we still had custody of it, like, but it was in their name. So like when they turn 18, like they just get it. It's not this kind of taxable event of us giving them money, which is like weird. So it was like, I was like, that's pretty nice. It's like, it's actually their money,
right?
Which, for good or bad or whatever. But what was weird was like, oh, I have to sell some Tesla stock. It's getting hot. But I own Tesla stock in my retirement account. I own Tesla stock for you and I in our own personal account. And like Marin and Isaac each have a separate, like I wasn't just buying mutual funds with it. So it was kind of like, if I wanted to like make a trade, I was like, Twitter's a good buy.
Who gets the win?
I was like, who buys Twitter? And do I do like 4 similar size transactions? Like that's really wasteful.
Who bought it for the least?
Yeah.
Weird.
So I was doing, for like a year, I kind of quasi managed it where like, it was like, well, it's like Marin gets Hasbro and Isaac gets Disney, and Disney did better than Hasbro. And then you're like, oh crap, like that's weird. So I was like, oh, let me just build one thing called the fund. And I looked into legally, I might look into it again. Like, actually, I was like, could we actually make it a fund? Like, how does a fund work?
Like assign 4 people's social securities to it, like assign.
Like as if we were a hedge fund. Okay. And there's obviously, you would think like a lot of legalese around doing that.
I wonder why.
They don't make it easy to do.
Bernie.
But that's what I'm kind of most excited about is that could you make this like investment vehicle easy enough for like anyone with an E-Trade account and 2 kids to just be like, oh, okay. Because I manage it in a spreadsheet now where it's like the kids just got this money from their grandparents. They're buying into the fund. What's the current? Then I have to figure out what's the current value.
You know what every parent watching this is thinking? Like, screw you, it's your money. It's not their money.
I think that too sometimes.
They cost you so much. Like, take their money.
Right? I flip flop on like.
Like, it's not their money.
I mean, but the grandparents gave it to them.
Well, if they didn't pay their rent yet, so.
But and also we put into so yeah, that's right. We should be taken out.
Sorry to derail. However,
yeah,
it's not. Have you been taking like a fee for your services?
I should be taking like 20%, but no 2%, and like half of everything above 20%. I don't know what a typical hedge fund is. I think it might be cool. It might be too hard, like legal wise, to build that kind of investment vehicle. But maybe you could fake it the way I fake it. It's like build an app that's just like the spreadsheet. It says like, oh, you got money, put it at how much money they get. This is what their percent. Put that money in E-Trade. You should buy these stocks or something like that to keep your balance. Not everyone has to trade like I do. Like if I don't trade, I invest longer term, but I own individual stocks. It could just be like, hey, like here's a good portfolio split for you. Just buy these. So I'm excited about that part of it. Maybe that's useful, but we're over time. But I was thinking about it's interesting. Like,
what do most people do with the money their kids get from grandparents? That's interesting.
Just put in a checking account, or maybe they buy like if where they had individual accounts. If all I did was like buy the total index fund, or like they have these funds.
They
they're
probably
great.
Don't invest.
They have these funds. It's like it's they put the year on it, like the year your kid turns 2018, like a 2035 fund. Oh. You buy the 2035. It's they invest it automatically to be like maximally funded at 35.
Sachs handle this for you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
How pain free would that be? Wouldn't your brain feel great?
Dude, wouldn't do as well. This is related. I've been doing better than Goldman Sachs. I've invested in the past 10 years.
Get out of the trees and be the forest, man. You're the trees.
Yeah.
You need to be the forest.
Wait, it's all coming together.
It's all coming together.
We don't have to talk about it because we're over. But what's interesting about it is when I have an idea like this, is like there's a lot of paths. Like one is like just scratch your itch and build it. Who cares? Like you'll learn a lot while you're building it, and you'll build a tool that's good for you anyway. And like maybe you'll be able to pay. Like don't bring customers into it too early.
No.
Let me build the app that works for me. Like actually, it'd be nice to calculating like.
I feel like some of the best Pay Memberships Pro things came out of scratching it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Like even
what we needed and wanted.
Yeah. Just a thing to calculate. You know, what's your new ownership when you put an extra $1,000 into the home and family fund would be like really useful to me. I should just build that as a tool.
Okay.
And then.
So the base investment you brought to the table just exists, and that's.
Yeah.
A value, the app tracks.
Yeah, it's like over time. It's like we all started to fund with this much. Whatever the account balances were of like the 3 accounts before I put them together, that's what everyone had. And then
it could also reflect
an
active, like current total value allocated to you based on
it shows that.
So it's just like snapshot data.
It says like we own like almost 50%, and the kids each own like 30%. I don't know, something like that. We own like 40, the kids each own 30. It's something like that. The breakdown, and the spreadsheet shows like how much they own. And if Marin gets $1,000 for her birthday, or something like that, like then. We say, oh, she bought in for $1,000. Like, what is, how much is her percentage after, she bought more? And so you have to do that math, and that's kind of complicated to do every time. Well, also it's like, I have to have a good snapshot of what the fund is worth, because the fund is like an E-Trade account, a bank account, Bitcoin, a bunch of other coins. So it's like, what are they worth? I have to take a snapshot of what they're worth at the time she buys in. Yeah, it's all fluid.
Sorry, I slept on a board for 3 nights.
No. But also like so I did that workshop on how businesses should think about money.
Right.
That stuff could become products and sell that. And that's a similar kind of audience. So it's like, instead of like scratching your itch and building something, you could just sell like a minimum viable product of a sort, or like a related product, to kind of start building a list of people who might possibly be interested in this thing. So it's kind of, if I think of this as like a little like side project, it's like, what do you do? I don't know. I'm leaning towards just scratch the itch for me, because like whatever, if it becomes sellable, it is. But it's kind of interesting to think about
financial
the path
products
to making
are people buying. Like, what are the most popular
financial products?
Courses, trainings that are virtual.
That's good. Good question.
Yeah. Like us 10 years
books,
ago, what are they buying?
How to trade stock. Yeah, books about finances are pretty popular still. How to buy. There's all kinds of like courses on trading.
Training courses.
And investing. It's funny, like the trading things are really exciting. Like the investment courses are like more like, I don't know, there's more activity. Like people want to get rich quick scheme. The more active. They don't want to be told like, do you think, solar energy is going to be really useful in the future? Do you think Tesla is involved in that? Do you think they'll still be here in 10 years?
They also don't want to be told
buy it
like
and sit on it.
You have a ridiculous, monthly dining out budget. You could be investing and stop doing that.
No, well, I mean,
like,
there is
like
this
secret
kind of
formula for like an in sync ratio. Is there a secret formula that all
how
people
much you should be paying out? No, I mean, I follow
a breakdown of your monthly.
I follow Remy Setti, and he's like, so there definitely is like this personal finance industry around like, don't drink your Starbucks, save $5 a day, and that becomes a BMW in 20 years.
Okay.
Like, so it's like there's this kind of like Austerian, like just like save all your money, and a lot of that retire early stuff is kind of like they're like bragging about
eat beans and ramen and don't.
Yeah. Here's the way I save money, and it's like, but you gotta just like make. There's a lot of industry around like, here's how you make it. Actually, here's how you start a side project and make $1,000 a month.
Okay.
Kind of that. I feel like that's more realistic, and that's where Remy Setti, he has products around stuff like that. It's like how to ask your boss for a raise. Like it's like, why struggle over your lattes when like just being honest with your boss and using a script to ask for a raise will get you like an extra 10% income boost. You're like, that's way better and easier, and it's once and done. So that's exciting. But I think that's atypical. That's fighting against the industry of like telling you to just
be a saver.
Be a saver. Yeah, I don't know.
It's got to be both, though. That
I feel like there is an industry of
to say like
there's
both, not both.
There's kind of a market of middle-aged software developers with decent salaries. Yeah, that
am I
kind of make money and kind of don't know what to do with it, and kind of being like, hey, here's one way to like think about what to do with your money that works for us. Because is it scratching your own itch? It's like I have these issues, like I have to, I'm like saving money for my kids, and you're like, should I just get them a pool, or do I need to? Or save a college fund, but like, what is college going to be when they're 18?
Really
like,
hard.
I don't want them to go to college, so why, or whatever, or do it, the amount of money you spend on college, if you save that much, like that's, we're going way over, but like Andrew Yang wants to give everyone $1,000 a month. I was like, oh, like if you save up, $250,000 to send your kid to college, you just put that in a trust fund. It's like, yeah, it's wild. Like trust fund babies is what they are. Like they're out there. We know them. People were like, where their parents are helping their kids, and are we like enabling them? And it's not really a good thing, or is it kind of like, it's nice, this is what Andrew Yang wants for everyone, to have an extra $1,000 a month. So why not set it up for our kids? How do you do that? It's a nice thing, isn't it? No. What are we gonna do with the money? Let's what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna go? Let's go to Mexico. This is our longest one yet. Thanks for hanging in there. You get the final word on my business. What should I do? That were my business idea.
Starting
the financial planning app. Should I just?
Yeah. I think you need to work with someone who cares more about financial planning. And I said this in the car than I do, because
you haven't. Yeah, you're like, okay.
I don't. I'm not like a crazy spender. I'm very conservative of a spender.
Yeah.
But I don't engage with the conversation about investment. Well, maybe your mom would like to go into business with you. She's very into
I got people.
Investments.
I'll talk to Mom, talk to Frank, I'll talk to John.
We've always started our things together, but I will be the role I can fill, but I don't think I can
talk about that
guide anything strategic with you or understand it very well. I just think of all the people that can't and aren't able to build this kind of
I mean, it's a
wealth for their kids, and it's hard to think that there's a huge audience, but there is. And maybe the huge audience is paying a third party to handle it for them and not interested in handling it independently.
Yeah, or giving them the formula to handle it themselves.
Right.
I think,
there must be. We know a number of business owners in the WordPress plugin space with children who must have
they might be interested too.
Investment money available for their
reach out to me.
So you gotta reach out to them.
Okay.
We're not the reach out to me. Now we're at the I call you stage.
I'm gonna reach out to you. Ask about your kids and your money.
That's not creepy.
Hey, everyone, smash that like button. Hit subscribe. Is that how you do? Do you smash the subscribe button or smash the like button? Smash the like button.
I just think of all the turnpike tolls rest stops, and it was like, don't smash the button.
They did say that? Where was that?
Every door open handicap button. I guess since COVID, people are probably for kicking it or something.
People are
I always used my
because it's not that fast.
Or I think they don't want to use their hands. They're people aren't touching.
So people are kicking it. It's like
people are kicking the button.
Yeah, guys, don't kick the handicap button on the doors, but smash the like button and hit the subscribe button instead. Take your aggression out on our subscribe button.
Yeah.
Like everything. We got one like already. Good job, team. All right. See you next week.
See you next week. You're going to have to figure that. There you go. Bye.